We are going to continue with our small business theme now and look at 3 different tools that I think are worth checking out if you're a small business person. First up, I want to show you a web service called Send to Fax with the number 2 for the Send to Fax. I don't have a fax machine anymore. Instead, I have a multifunction printer and a notebook, and I use a web-based fax service for all my faxing needs. It's a virtual fax. It's got a real phone number for the fax, so regular fax machines can call it, and they transmit to it as they normally would to a real machine. But instead of being answered by a real machine, it's answered by a server, and the server captures the image file, and then we get an email notifying us that we have a fax, and the email has the fax attached as a PDF. Now, if we go onto the web service, we can see the management software for Send to Fax so that you can manage all of your incoming faxes and you can send faxes from your computer. And this is a great little benefit here. So you can, anytime you have an internet connection at all, you can just go into here and you can choose whatever document on your computer you want to send as a fax, put all the addressing information in the cover page, and send it as though it's a real fax. So as long as you have an internet connection, you have a fax. That's the beauty of a virtual fax. Now, if a signature is required, you can add a digital signature to the document, or you can scan the document in with a real signature. It's economical and actually costs less than a dedicated fax line would for us. Now, the next service that I want to show you is an online invoicing service. Now, this is perfect for small businesses and entrepreneurs. It's called Blink Sale, and it's one of the new generation of web services that does one thing for us and does it very well. In this case, it's all about invoicing. Now, you can try it out for free. You can send up to 3 invoices for free, and then they have a variety of additional benefits and services all the way up to about $50 a month, depending if you do a lot of invoicing. The process of creating invoices, pretty straightforward. You basically just create a new invoice. You can save existing customers in a database so you don't have to re-enter their information every time. You create an invoice, and then you can apply basic levels of service. Now, it's not a really customizable invoice, but if you're selling some simple products, you can describe them, you can put in the number, it'll automatically calculate everything for it. I'm selling some things to these people, and the things are worth about $22 each. And it automatically calculates all of the pricing. You have a variety of different currencies that you can work within, actually just about every currency I can imagine. You can add sales tax, and here it doesn't recognize GST. You have to put in the actual number. So if you have GST and PST, you have to put in that you're blending those two together, but you put in the information, add freight, and basically it will create and generate the entire invoice for you. And finally, it will manage the whole invoice for you in a nice combined screen that tells you who's paid, who hasn't paid, and how long they've aged as far as your accounts receivable goes. Invoicing is an often overlooked part of the business cycle. This is much better than making your own in Word or Excel because it A, looks more professional, and it adds structure to the process and task. Now, the last thing I want to show you is a Outlook add-on. Straight out of the box, most software is pretty much its own world. You're limited by the imagination of the authors of the software and left working with the tools and capabilities and structure that they think is important. But when we design productivity software to help us in our day-to-day lives and jobs, it's a big challenge because productivity for you might look a lot different than productivity does for me. So applications like Microsoft Outlook, which for many of us is our main productivity tool, needs to be extensible and customizable. We need to be able to add features to the software and tweak it to make it more useful to us. We call these additions add-ons, and there are dozens of them available, and some of the best add-ons follow philosophies. For example, there's a productivity guru named David Allen who's written several books and gives productivity seminars. Now, his system is called Getting Things Done. It's very popular with the information overload crowd, those of us who find that our email inbox is a morass of too much to do and too little time to do it. Well, if you follow the GTD program, which stands for Getting Things Done, theoretically, all your work gets done because the belief is that a good system works for everybody. Now, there's an add-on that plugs in right into Outlook that gives you all of the tools to manage the flow of work based on the GTD metaphor. And I'm going to show you how that works here. Now, the GTD add-on installs here as a toolbar right within Outlook, giving me access to all of the tools that I need to manage my email. The philosophy being, I see an email once, read it, determine what I'm going to do with it, and apply an activity to it. So, for example, I can delegate it to another person. I can send it as an email attachment with a reminder coming back to me that they have to do something with that. I can defer it, so it'll go into my agenda, and I'll be reminded in a week or 2 weeks or however far out I decide to defer this task to. I can create an action item, adding it to a to-do list. I can say, I'm going to deal with this someday. The interesting opportunities that come along, you can put in a someday folder, and you go and you kind of browse through it when you have time. I can snooze on it till later in the day. I'm going to say, I'll deal with this in a couple of hours. Or I can file it if it's something that I've already dealt with, or I can delete it. The whole idea is once I've dealt with it, it's not going to slip down in my inbox and be forgotten or be preying on my mind saying, I had something to do and I can't remember what to do. That's the strength of GTD. Now, these are three very different tools for different tasks, but small business people need a lot of tools because we do a lot of chores. Managing our faxes, our invoices, our emails, that's a good way to start getting more done.